Today is March 2nd. Welcome to the Ed Finance Committee. We are going to get started very soon. In fact, we can probably move forward now if Senator Westlin is ready. Our first bill today is Senate File 0865. We'll give everybody a moment to get themselves situated, and we'll begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, Senator Westlin, would you like to make a motion to have your bill laid over for a possible inclusion into the omnibus?
I would like to make that motion, yes.
All right, thank you. You may begin when ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members, for hearing this bill today. This is a bill that would provide the ability for us to teach and train teachers who will then be teaching economics and personal finance to our kids in our schools. No one questions the need for our students to understand economics and personal finance. Anyone here who has a child, and I have adult children, will know that we spend at least some time in our families talking about these issues. However, Minnesota's teachers are not adequately prepared to effectively instruct students on these topics. Economics and personal finance are typically taught at the high school level by secondary social studies teachers, but less than 2% of those social studies teachers focused on economics in their undergraduate preparation. Yet high school social studies teachers can be and are called upon to teach economics at any time. Our elementary teachers, who must now help their students meet economics and personal finance standards, typically have no to very little training, and many of them have never taken even one college course in economics or personal finance. Senate File 865 would provide a base appropriation of $500,000 annually for the Minnesota Council on Economic Education beginning in fiscal year 2024. This is the minimum level needed to enable MCEE to continue delivering a robust teacher professional development program aligned with state standards and to increase the number of teachers that are able to take this training and be well prepared to present this in our schools to our kids. This program includes the provision of teacher workshops and courses that range from first introductions to the topic to refresher and specialty workshops to full courses for graduate. These workshops are offered in person in the Twin Cities and around the state through affiliated centers for economic education at higher education institutions and statewide online. The program also includes the training of a master teacher corps to serve as instructors and mentors to their fellow K through 12 teachers throughout the state. These accomplished teachers train other teachers both in subject matter content and in effective classroom implementation of economics and personal finance lessons. MCEE is uniquely qualified to provide this professional development. There is no other organization routinely providing this type of professional development for our Minnesota teachers. In the testimony that follows, you'll hear from MCEE Director, trained teachers and students who have benefited from having MCEE trained instructors and participating in direct-to-student programming. And with that, Madam Chair, we don't have a student this year. Do we?
That's all right.
Okay, sorry about that. We do not actually have a student testifier. I apologize for that. So with that, Madam Chair, Dr. Julie Bunn would be our first testifier.
Thank you, Senator Westlin. Ms. Bunn.
Madam Chair, good morning, Madam Chair and members. The reason for the lack, our initial tries at this hearing, this is our third try with this hearing. Hopefully it's the lucky one. We had many more testifiers, but we were instructed to eliminate it today, so because of the time constraints. So we have student testimony in the packets you have received, as well as many other teacher testimonies in the packets. MC has delivered economic financial literacy education to Minnesotans since 1961. It's a public-private partnership that was developed by business, labor, and academic leaders at that time to enhance and build the economic and financial literacy of all Minnesotans. From the outset, we were one of the leading councils in the country, and many other councils were established based on our model and imitated our programming and adopted our programming. Since our inception, we've trained over 40,000 Minnesota teachers and reached over 3 million students with our programming. MC is here today for the fourth year making our case for base funding from the state because we're at a tipping point. Without base funding, our future is uncertain. Teacher professional development remains the central focus of what we do and our work. This is what's unique about MC relative to other organizations involved in economics, finance, and entrepreneurship education in our schools. Other organizations deliver direct-to-student experiences using corporate volunteers. We provide the foundation on which these experiences are built and also the foundations on what the standards are delivered in the state of Minnesota. We ensure teachers in the classroom have the content knowledge and the pedagogical tools to competently do their job and effectively engage students. About 1,600 new teachers each year come out of our pre-service programs, and a pool of over 25,000 in-service teachers in the licensed areas that would be called upon to teach economics and personal finance sometime in their career are the focus of our efforts. Historically, we have reached 500 to 700 of these teachers each year with fairly intensive training. But this is much less than what's needed in the state to do the job. During the pandemic, MC reached 1,200 to 2,000 teachers a year with professional development of shorter duration and virtually. With only 4 full-time staff, by mobilizing affiliated faculty, a core of master teachers, and experts on a contract basis, MC reaches teachers in their pre-service programs, on-site in their districts, and then draws them to in-person teacher trainings and online trainings. MC also has 6 direct-to-student competition, capstone, and college readiness programs, the majority of which are focused on underserved student populations. And one of our 4 affiliated centers for economic education is the Center for Diversity and Economics at St. Catherine's University, devoted to creating a pipeline of non-male and BIPOC students into post-secondary education and careers in economic and finance, and we work closely with them on all our projects. The $500,000 a year request in this bill represents approximately 1/2 of the cost for MC to provide this professional development to 1,500 to 2,000 teachers a year and to make the affiliated capstone student programs available statewide, as well as to maintain both developed and curated curriculum and lessons for Minnesota teachers. We will continue to raise the other half of the funds from private sources. As mentioned, this is the 4th year as MC has approached the legislature for base funding. We have received about 1/4 of our request on a temporary basis. This will not sustain the organization over the longer run. We do not make this request lightly. Simply put, the survival of the organization as one that actually provides training, not just a platform or a hub for resources online, relies on receiving base funding. The 3 primary historical sources of funding for the primary work of teacher professional development, which is the main thing that we do, has essentially dried up. And that's discussed in your case statement in the packet, what those 3 sources were and what's happened with those 3 sources. A 2022 survey of other state councils showed that robust councils received 25 to 50% of their funding from the state on a regular basis, many of them since they were created in the 1960s. Bottom line, the support we are requesting is both necessary to sustain the current operation of the organization and to reach the larger number of teachers that need our teacher professional development service. In addition to the teachers you are about to hear from, as I mentioned, there's much more testimony and also student testimony in the packet. The information also contains links to video testimony from other teachers and additional information on the specifics of our program, both in video form and written form. Thank you for your consideration and hopefully in advance for your support of Senate File 865.
Thank you, Dr. Bunn. I appreciate it. Next testifier is Race Hardy, who I believe is joining us online. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin when you're ready.
Hi there. My name is Race Hardy. I'm coming to you from Austin, Minnesota. at this moment from Riverland Community College. As soon as this is done, I'll be heading to Austin High School. But first of all, I'd like to thank Chair Kunesh and thank all of you senators for serving on this committee. In my opinion, the Educational Finance Committee is one of the most important committees in either chamber. And I really appreciate your willingness to serve on this committee. Also, I'd like to thank Senator Westlin for the unwavering support for economics education in the state of Minnesota. So I started my affiliation with the Minnesota Council back at what was called Mankato State at that time, back in the late 80s. And for the first about 15 years, I just leached off the council. And the council willingly let me latch on to them, and they helped me through the first 15 years of my teaching. I taught economics, I taught personal finance, and the number one source of my assistance in that was the Minnesota Council. In the last 15 years, I've done various things related with the council working, and I just want you to know that when Dr. Bunn mentioned about a unique organization that the Minnesota Council is, there is no other organization like the Minnesota Council. There's nobody anywhere around the country. I've spent 30 years doing this, and I've worked with numerous organizations. There's nothing like the Minnesota Council in their ability to train teachers and then to have those teaching opportunities given to students, or learning opportunities given. And I'd just like to end with just 3 points. I'm a taxpayer in Minnesota. I've been a Minnesota resident since the day I was born. I've been paying taxes in Minnesota since I was a middle school student. I care about where my tax money goes. One of the central concepts of economics is opportunity cost. And once you spend a dollar somewhere, that dollar can't be spent somewhere else. And so what I look for as a taxpayer is the biggest bang for the buck that we're going to get here in Minnesota. And the Minnesota Council is a public-private partnership. And in my opinion, public-private partnerships are where the biggest bang is in this state. And again, there is nobody that's going to reach more students effectively than the Minnesota Council. And so I really encourage you to give every opportunity here to support Senate File 865. And in the packet, if you'd please look at Siri Ansorge. Siri Ansorge is a student who graduated in 2021 from Austin High School. I had the pleasure of having her in my economics class. And when I put out a feeler for a student to come and speak to this, she's in Madison, Wisconsin right now, and I got a response back in 5 seconds. And so please take the time to read the letter that she submitted, that Siri Ansorge is a student. Thanks a lot for this opportunity, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. As a fellow social studies teacher, I appreciated those comments very much. Thank you. Senator Westlin, our next testifier for you is Jesse Zong. I'm sorry. Yes, I think also joining us online. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Please state your name for the record, and you can begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity for me to testify here. My name is Xingyue Zong, and I go by Jessie. Yeah, you can call me Jessie. That's totally fine. Yeah, I graduated from University of Pittsburgh with a master's degree in public affairs. I learned macro and microeconomics and quantitative analysis methods, but I wasn't equipped to teach young students at their level of understanding to comprehend this complicated world. When I just started my career in Jieming Mandarin Immersion School, I received a master's degree in education from University of Minnesota later, but before that I struggling and looking for effective ways to teach students. And then very luckily, I became acquainted with the Minnesota Council on Economic Education when teaching summer schools in 2021 and 2022. So even I was taking the master's degree in education at the same time, I wasn't being provided a curriculum like this or being prepared for this. So I find like a gem. So I discovered how solid and well-structured MCEE's curriculum was, and I implemented it in my class immediately. And students loved it. It focused on a few essential and very abstract concepts and provide vivid life scenarios to help students to think, to discuss, and to weigh the options and to make decisions. So the MCEE curriculum also allows teachers to modify lessons to meet students' needs. Teachers can easily build up layers of complexity through multiple grade levels or dovetail it into other subjects due to the time limits, or translate the materials into another language, like what I did. I translate in Chinese Mandarin. It's difficult to find such flexibility in other curriculum. All of these possibilities benefit from the accurate design of the curriculum. It's scaled up by grade level and scaffolds strategies to handle different scenarios with age-appropriate options. It makes abstract concepts very understandable, enjoyable, and practical. And they can easily apply their knowledge from class to real-life problems after they take the lessons. So these are students' reflection, and also from my perspective, MCEE gives teachers opportunity to learn, to discuss, and to get inspired through various workshops. Teaching economics can be scary for some classroom teachers. The topics can be controversial and hard to manage. So MCEE provides training for teachers to get familiar with the curriculum in the scoring system. These are very powerful. And yeah, the MCEE help teachers and students to think more rationally about the world and themselves. So thank you so much for the opportunity for me to testify here. This is what I want to say. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your testimony. Members, any questions? I see Senator Cwodzinski just arrived. I'm sure he'd have a lot to say on social studies curriculum, but I don't want to put him on the spot, even though I just did. All right, seeing no questions, Senator Westlin, do you have any closing remarks?
No, Madam Chair, I know we have a full agenda, and while attorneys often like to speak, I'm going to cut my remarks short and just say thank you for your time and attention today. This is a great program.
Thank you. Senator Westlin renews her motion to have this laid over into possible omnibus inclusion. Thank you very much. Now, next, Senate File 1719 with Senator Putnam. Welcome to the committee. Please begin whenever you're ready. Senator Cwodzinski, would you like to make the motion to include Senate File 1719 and possible omnibus inclusion?
So moved, and I just want to congratulate Senator Putnam. This is the first time I've seen you testify in a few times where the audience doesn't leave when you walked up to the dais. So,
Madam Chair, Senator Cwodzinski, I think they're waiting for a more dramatic moment to walk out en masse, or until I bore them.
Senator Putnam, begin when you're ready.
Madam Chair, members, thank you so much for having the opportunity to talk about the Educational Partnerships Coalition. You know, a couple years ago, Senator Nelson, our pal Senator Nelson, basically argued for a bill very similar to this on the same thing on the floor. And I told a story then that I want to tell again because it's a good one. I heard about a girl named Nora in St. Cloud. She was in second, third grade, don't remember the exact number, her exact age. She was a behavioral problem in class, always getting in trouble, not doing well in her studies. And then one day, a volunteer from the United Way Partners for Student Success, who was working in her class, sat down with her. You guys know what teachers are. They're totally overwhelmed, way too many students. They don't have the time to sit down with all their students, but in this case, someone sat down with Nora, someone who worked with the Educational Partnership Coalition member in St. Cloud, sat down with her and found out that she was having trouble reading, not because she wasn't especially bright, but because she needed glasses. She just needed glasses. So the worker from the Educational Partnership Coalition, United Way Partners for Student Success, took Nora, used some of the resources that we're talking about today to buy her glasses. That's all she needed to be a successful student, to not be disruptive in the class. And now she's incredibly successful in school. That's all it took, was one extra adult there to help her out. And it worked. Members, before you was an opportunity to fund the Educational Partnerships Coalition, to do the exact same kind of work that worked so well for Nora. Now, the Education Partnerships Coalition engages more than 120,000 youth and their families across Minnesota. Coalition members take a birth-to-career approach that working to eliminate Minnesota's worst in the nation opportunity gaps. All coalitions are locally controlled, data-driven, public-private partnerships. So we're looking at 9 member organizations that serve Austin, Rochester, Red Wing, Northfield, North Minneapolis, St. Louis Park, St. Cloud, St. Paul, and Generation Next, which serves Minneapolis and St. Paul. And here's another really concrete example of something that the EPCs have done. In St. Cloud, a couple years ago, we had a 200-kid waiting list for preschool. 200 kids on a waiting list for preschool. And that's not even counting all the kids who wanted to go to preschool, but whose parents weren't even aware of it enough to put them on the waiting list. So what did we do? Partners for Student Success, United Way, partnered with my Rotary Club. And we created our own preschool that's now serving up to 60 kids every year, through a partnership between businesses and the Educational Partnerships Coalition. We were able to raise the philanthropy so that at least 60 kids have preschool. It's a wonderful success story. Now, members, Madam Chair, we've supported this work in the past. The Educational Partnerships Coalition Fund was codified in statute in 2017. In the 2021 budget year, that support looked like $1.3 million apiece for the 2 Twin Cities-based organizations and $480,000 to be split among the greater Minnesota organizations. I don't think that's especially cool. This bill fixes some of that. 2 things this bill does. First, it changes the language from Tier 1 and Tier 2 grants to Neighborhood Partnership Grant and Regional Neighborhood Partnership Grant, basically referring to either a single municipal area or multiple. Second, it appropriates money. The Neighborhood Partnership Grant refers basically to Minneapolis and St. Paul because those are the places whose EPCs are contiguous with those municipalities. Whereas at each of those programs would receive $2.3 million per year, and the regional grants would amount to $2.1 million per year or $300,000 per greater Minnesota program. Members, that's the need. That's the way we solve the need, and that's the ask for the resources to do the work. I'm lucky to have some pals here to testify on behalf of this bill.
Thank you, Senator Putnam. You may begin when you're ready. Thank you. Oh, and state your name for the record.
Okay. My name is Ikram Ilmoge. Thank you, Chair Kunesh and the member of the committee for this opportunity to share my story and discuss the collective impact of our programs at United Way of Central Minnesota. I'm honored to be here today and be able to provide a glimpse into the impact we're making in our community. It's an honor to be here today to share a bit of my story as a member of the community in St. Cloud, educator, St. Cloud State University graduate, and currently serving as a family engagement manager at United Way of Central Minnesota. When I joined United Way as a FISTA, I saw firsthand the need of the community. I was drawn to the strength of the collective impact and the opportunity to serve. After graduating St. Cloud State University, I served as a teacher in St. Cloud Area School District. This eventually led me to an opportunity to rejoin United Way, where I now have the privilege of working programs such as American Reading Company, 21 CCL, and Preschool for Success. When I was a FISTA, I started to support the alignment of American Reading Company curriculum with St. Cloud School District uses when COVID struck the nation. The district, our community partners, our staff, and our families worked together to shift. We adopted the ARC curriculum to remote learning, providing digital learning tools and resources for educators to engage with students virtually. Additionally, ARC has provided professional development for our partners to learn how to use the tools as well as to access webinars and other resources to help the transition remote access books. We were able to provide additional resources to parents and caregivers to use their children, such as tips, books, recommendation, activities, and other resources. These resources has been instrumental in helping students stay engaged reading during a time they may not have access to traditional learning. We rapidly shift to meet the literacy needs of kids, and we saw less learning loss in literacy than the average youth that participated in this program. This is just one of the examples of our great work our EPC group has been able to accomplish. United Way of Central Minnesota is dedicated to providing support and resources to children and families in our community. We were proud of the impact that we have made, such as providing 96 more 3 and 4 years old now access to preschool, and we are additionally providing to support their caregivers and families. We annually host a community-wide school supplies to support kids and families. Last year, we provided over 12 community partners with over 4,000 items and supplies to get kids ready for school. Finally, 4,200 high schoolers get annually engaged in EPIC, our Central Minnesota College and Career Readiness event, over 130 partners collaborating. I am grateful for the opportunity to share my story and our services to make a collective impact in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next testifier is Tiffany Scott Knox. You may begin when ready. Please state your name for the record.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, my name is Tiffany Scott Knox, the Director of St. Paul Promise Neighborhood. As a member of the Education Partnership Coalition, I'm here testifying in favor of Senate File 1719 to support our work to ensure our families have systems, support, and opportunities they deserve on the path to college and career success. At the St. Paul Promise Neighborhood, we consider the whole family when it comes to improving well-being and education outcomes. For example, to prevent summer slide, we served over 800 youth through extending learning opportunities this past year and provided a safe and supportive learning environment. Of those scholars, 86% maintain or improved literacy skills through our programming. We also served over 100 families through our People's Fellowship, focused on financial literacy and self-sufficiency. We were also able to provide over $40,000 in emergency assistance to keep our families stable throughout their participation. Alongside this programming, we also connect our families to advocacy and civic engagement opportunities to transform systems through decision-making bodies so everyone has the opportunity to learn, liberate, and thrive. Those are some of the examples that we are working on in the St. Paul Promise Neighborhood to put our families on a path to thriving. We thank you for your past investment in making this possible and ask for your continued support through Senate File 1719. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last testifier is Julie Rusick. If I pronounced your name wrong, I apologize. You'll have to state it for the record anyway, so we'll be good. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Gustafson. It's Ruzek. My maiden name was Keller. It was much easier. Good morning, members of the committee, and thank you so much for your time today. My name, as I said, is Julie Ruzek, and I am the Executive Director of the Cradle to Career Initiative in Rochester, Minnesota, where we believe that every child and young adult can succeed cradle to career through shared purpose, alignment, and accountability among stakeholders. We, along with the other 8 Education Partnership Coalition initiatives, use a framework of shared community vision, evidence-based decision-making, collaborative action, and investment in sustainability to affect systems change in our communities. Prior to this role, I served as the District Coordinator of Family and Community Partnerships in Rochester Public Schools. There, I supported the implementation of the full-service community schools model, which has grown to include 7 district schools, elementary through high school. In each of these roles, I have seen multiple benefits to aligning the work of the Education Partnership Coalition and the full-service community schools model. In Rochester, we do this in the following ways. First, Cradle to Career provides data collection and analytics support to the community schools in Rochester. We have a dedicated staff person that works with these sites through a data sharing agreement with the school district. Next, Cradle to Career provides research and best practice support to the community schools. We support the community schools annually in preparing and publishing needs assessments and recommendations for their sites. Next, we have leadership and staff alignment. I meet monthly with the district's community schools director, have district leadership represented on our Cradle to Career leadership team, and the community schools staff serve on each of our Cradle to Career work groups, which are kindergarten readiness and high school graduation. Community schools collaborate with with Cradle to Career to host research pilots at their sites and participate with the work groups in the implementation and evaluation of these pilots to scale them when successful across the community. We believe that each of these are examples of a mutually supportive civic infrastructure where established connections and relationships and leveraging one another's strengths allows us to work together to reduce disparities, celebrate assets, and improve outcomes for the students and families that we serve. Your support for Senate File 1719, which provides consistent funding for our initiatives, will allow us to strengthen our collaboration with our full-service community schools colleagues. While our current work is making an impact in Rochester, further funding would support the alignment and scaling of our initiatives at the state level, with support from our growing relationships at the Minnesota Department of Education and within other communities where these models exist. I have spent 21 years working in the education system, and my proudest accomplishments are not things that I have done alone. Rather, they are systems that have changed or pathways that have been created through collaboration. This is the only way forward. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Senator Cruin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just kind of looking through the numbers in the bill, and in my understanding through the presentation, you know, this is a kind of a nonprofits have kind of started these organizations, and they're looking to the state for a boost, so to speak. Is that kind of a fair summation?
Senator Putnam.
Madam Chair, Senator Cruin, thanks for the question. It's an important one to clarify this a little bit. What these EPCs are, they're kind of nonprofit business homunculi, as it were. They're the two sort of merged together. So I can speak specifically about United Way of Central Minnesota, which obviously is United Way, but it's full of tremendous business partners. As I mentioned before, my Rotary Club is a partner in that as well. So it really is a great way of kind of leveraging or coordinating the private sector with philanthropy at the same time. Now, in terms of the bill itself, in past years, there's another component that's in the bill that I didn't mention explicitly, is this does move funding from the greater Minnesota EPCs into the base. Currently, the two cities ones are in the base appropriation. This moves the organizations from greater Minnesota into the base appropriation as well. And then there's more money too. Does that help, Senator Cruin?
Yeah, Senator Cruin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Putnam. So yeah, I mean, I was looking at that. It does, in the regional neighborhood partnership grants, it does spell out, I believe, 7 different ones. And it looks like 6 of the 7 are specific to specific locations, and then one in subdivision 3-6 is the Greater Twin Cities United Way for Generation Next, which seems perhaps to have a broader application. And I guess I'm just kind of looking at it, and these are appropriations for specific organizations and specific places in our state, and it leaves out a large swath of the state, including my district and several other districts. And so that is obviously something I have to pay attention to. So maybe my question would be, kind of tell me a little bit. I heard you talk about a scaling plan for the rest of the state. If you could elaborate on your plans and how this appropriation might play into your scaling plans and how that might benefit the rest of the state who's not specifically a part of this bill.
Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Cruin. In terms of the actual plan to do that, I know in principle that's part of the vision, is to have these be of regional reach. But obviously region is restricted by resources and capacity. So with a more specific, concrete answer, I'm probably going to have to phone a friend on this one.
Thank you for your question, Senator. One of the things that is important to note is that many of our initiatives are relatively new. Rochester is just starting our 5th year in this work in collective impact. And so understanding how to create a sustainable funding plan is very important to us. Similar to that of the full-service community schools model, there's always this tension between sustainability and expansion. This bill would provide our current EPCs with that ability to sustain for the next 3 years as we look to grow our efforts into other communities. That is part of the plan.
Senator Cruin? Okay, all right. Members, anyone else? All right, with that, Senator Cwodzinski renews his motion to have, I'm sorry, closing comments, Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members. Thank you, Senator Cruin, for the great questions. Obviously, in my world, we'd have one everywhere. So I very much appreciate the discussion and the opportunity to talk about this stuff. I also want to thank my co-authors, Senator Nelson and Senator Bolden, and everyone who supports this work, and more importantly, everyone who does it. Thanks again.
Thank you. And with that, Senator Cwodzinski renews his motion to have this included in possible omnibus inclusion. And I am handing over to the chair.
Good morning, Senator Cwodzinski. So we are on to Senate File 1270, the Reach Out and Read program. Senator Cwodzinski, would you like to make a motion to move your bill?
So moved. Sorry.
That's okay. When you are ready, you may begin.
I just was sitting over there and reflecting on the title of this bill, Reach Out and Read, and my granddaughter was over at the house last night, and I got a chance to see her, and she's in this phase right now. She's maybe 14 months or somewhere in there, and she'll hand me a book, and then she'll turn around and take a couple steps towards me, meaning pick me up and put me in your lap. And it's such a wonderful vision to have while I give this presentation called Reach Out and Read. And so with that said, every day is a great day to talk about how we can support Minnesota's littlest learners and of course their families. Today I'm very, very enthusiastically excited to talk about Reach Out and Read. If you are not familiar with this incredible program, I'd like to just share with you what Reach Out and Read does. It connects clinics and pediatricians and families and assists them by providing books. When you go see the doctor for a checkup, you get a book. Up to from 6 months to 5 years of age. And pediatricians that participate in this program are trained in the Reach Out and Read model and provides books to the children and uses the books as an opportunity to assess the child's development and talk to the families about the importance of sharing stories together. And families involved in Reach Out and Read are 2.5 times more likely to read to their children at home. And it's just amazing, amazing program, and I'm delighted to have two testifiers today on behalf of the bill. So thank you, Madam Chair and members, for listening.
Thank you, Senator Cwodzinski. And, you know, I have these two little granddaughters, and so your story is very familiar. The older one brings me books all the time, and she's only 18 months old, but already shows signs of loving books and reading and pointing to things. And we know how important it is to have those kind of resources in the hands of our very, very youngest learners as soon as we can, to inspire and encourage not only the love and the ability to read, but also that strong strong family connection or adult to child connection as we go forward. So thank you for bringing this bill forward. First testifier is Ms. Hoplin, Executive Director of Reach Out and Read. If you would just share your full name and then you may begin.
Yes, thank you so much, Chair Kunesh. My name is Chris Hoplin. I'm the Executive Director of Reach Out and Read. And thank you to Senator Cwodzinski for your authorship of this bill. I'm humbled to represent this program, which is the product of the hard work and dedication to supporting young children and their families from both our team and the thousands of healthcare providers and clinic staff around Minnesota. I'm testifying because I know our program is effective, and with the state's support, we can make a smart, cost-effective investment in Minnesota's young families that will resonate for years to come. Our program model is supported by dozens of peer-reviewed studies. At every well-child visit from infancy through 5 years, clinicians trained in our program provide a book and early developmental guidance to young children and their families. Providers use the book as a launch pad to connect families with families on a deeper level to assess cognitive and social emotional development and coach families on how best to support their child in this critical period of rapid growth. One of the great benefits of partnering with doctors is that they appreciate research-backed approaches. It's because of our large body of research, we know how effective this program is. We know families who participate read more often together in their home, visit their local library more frequently, and are more likely to cite reading as a favorite activity together. We know that children's expressive and receptive language scores increase. One study in an underserved community showed language growth of 3 to 6 months among participating children. And we know that participating clinics see higher rates of attendance at their well-child visits, and our program improves trust between healthcare providers and patients. The American Academy of Pediatrics has endorsed Reach Out and Read and cited it as the most studied and scaled primary intervention program, which seeks to prevent gaps before they emerge. We want to provide these results for every child in Minnesota, particularly those growing up in our most underserved community. With the state support, we can ensure that thousands of families across the state are getting quality books in their hands, along with the best evidence-based guidance for helping their young children learn and grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Dr. Gigi Shaula, and is she online? There she is. Thank you so much for joining us remotely. If you would state your full name, and then you may begin your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Dr. Gigi Chawla. I'm a pediatrician, Chief of General Pediatrics at Children's Minnesota, and Medical Director for Reach Out and Read Minnesota. As a practicing pediatrician for more than 20 years, and as the mother of now 2 grown daughters, I can say I find nothing else in the world more marvelous or more complex than the developing brain of a child. In the first few years of life, a brain forms more than 1 million new neural connections every second. At this stage, a child's brain shows tremendous plasticity, absorbing, sorting, and organizing new information on a scale that would make even our most advanced supercomputers envious. The architecture of a child's brain, how a child will think, grow, and learn for the rest of their lives, is built by these earliest experiences. Research informs us that these small moments in early childhood, including all of those interactions between young children and their parents and caregivers, have long-lasting effects on children's health outcomes, future academic performance, and overall well-being. As a pediatrician and mother, I have witnessed firsthand the transformative power of small moments on a young child's development time and time again. Both the research and my own experiences have proven to me how powerful simple actions like reading a favorite book or singing a silly song with your child can be. The Reach Out and Read program promotes exactly this type of early interactions that young children need to develop. With rich language interactions like reading, speaking, and singing with a child, much more is happening in a child's brain than is visible. As a child is being held and read to, they are building these neural pathways that assign meaning to the words and world around them. They are discovering how language and learning function, and perhaps most importantly, they are learning that they are deeply cared for by the parent or caregiver taking that time to share a story with them. These neural connections are therefore being reinforced with positive attributions that will further develop into a positive connection for the love of learning. Put together on a population scale, all of these small moments of joy, of learning between parents and children have a resounding, lasting impact. Positive early childhood experiences generate better lifelong health outcomes and better academic achievement, especially with reduction in the opportunity gap, which in turn can generate lower healthcare costs for the state and a stronger foundation for our economy. The Reach Out and Read program is, of course, only one piece in this puzzle, but it is also one of the most well-researched and evidence-based programs we have. The research makes it clear that with this program achieves consistent, powerful effects using a scalable, low-cost model. I would also add that as a pediatrician, this is one of the most joyful aspects of our day, is seeing the what the senator described earlier, seeing the joy in a child's face, having that book and getting that reinforcement, sitting with their parent and loved one. And it is also very reaffirming to know that this Reach Out and Read program provides for some families the only books that they have in their household. So with your support of Senate File 1270, we can make Reach Out and Read the standard of pediatric care across Minnesota and ensure that families are getting high-quality books in every community in this state. I strongly encourage you to make this investment in Minnesota's children, youngest learners, and their families. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gigi Shaula. I can only imagine how much more a child would feel happy to go to the doctor if they knew that they were going to walk out of there with a new book as well, and be able to share with others, you know, when they say, where'd you get that book? And they're like, oh, my doctor gave it to me. I can just imagine the joy that goes all around when it comes to that. I know I would feel like that, my kids would feel like that, and so thank you very much. Members, do you have any questions? Senator Westlin, hand went up real fast.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And in part, it went up very fast because Dr. Chawla, I am a family law attorney, so you have a family member that I know reasonably well. And this is a great program. Thank you so much for presenting all of the information. I think that we know that when we help our earliest, our youngest folks not only read, but have that physical attachment, that emotional attachment to a caregiver in their life, that it's so important. And the last plug I will give, I've mentioned this before, but PBS had a 4-part series called Whole People. And I would just, Dr. Chawla participated in that 4-part series about childhood trauma. She is a very distinguished physician, and we are lucky to have her testifying on this today. So I just want to say that special thank you and shout out.
Thank you, Senator. Anybody else? All right, Senator Cwodzinski, any final words?
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. One thing that both testifiers failed to mention that I think is very important to know is all the books are in English and the language that is maybe prominent in that particular community. And I think there's 6 languages.
12, actually.
Go ahead.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, is that appropriate?
Yeah.
During closing arguments for her to?
Yes, I will allow it.
Yes, we have many books just in English, but we have many bilingual books, and the clinics and the providers choose a book based on the family and their home language.
Could you tell us some of the titles or the subjects of the books that you have?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, I can. So we talked about them being age appropriate and also culturally appropriate. So we start with, most of the ones up here are for babies, so young, very young children and babies, they love to look at other baby faces. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of start with these types of books. And then as they get older, you know, they're more of that 3 to 5 range. They like stories. And again, all of the books are in some are just in English and the other ones are bilingual. And so sometimes families will, the parents may speak Spanish at home and they read with their children in Spanish, and then the older siblings will read with their younger siblings in English. So really try to get books that are really engaging and that the families and the kids are going to want to read and look at over and over again.
Great, thank you. And they're board books?
Yes,
Some of
up
them?
until the older range where they can turn and handle a more paperback book. Most of them are board books, though.
Lovely. All right, well, go ahead, Senator
I just want to
Cwodzinski,
add
before we cut you off
to
again.
your remarks that you mentioned about going to the doctor, and my lifelong fear of going to the doctor, that still at age 64 maybe would have been alleviated had I had been presented a book as a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old when I went to the doctor. And I know that as a media specialist, you know the joy of going into that library and seeing those kids' looks on their faces, and imagine kids going to the doctor with that same look on their faces. So thank you, members, for listening to the bill today.
Thank you so much, Senator Cwodzinski. And with that, we will renew the motion and lay this bill over for possible inclusion. Thank you.
I'm back, everybody. Senator Kunesh, you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this morning, I'm bringing to you Senate File 20, which is a bill around full-service community schools. This is a type of educational system that I really feel strongly about. We know that when we create that hub of education, of public service, of community and collaboration within the community, that we are able to really address a lot of the wants and the needs and the joy of being in a community. And so Minnesota has provided support for full service community schools under a few different models. In 2015 is when the legislature codified the current full service community school program. These full service community schools incorporate aspects of early childhood, academic support and enrichment activities, including an extended school calendar, career counseling and internship opportunities, parent involvement and leadership, mental and physical health support, community involvement, and service learning. Under the statutes, a qualifying school is eligible for a grant of up to $150,000 per year if the school is on a continuous improvement plan or has achievement and integration plan approved by the Commissioner of Education. These qualifying sites must hire or contract with a partner agency to coordinate services at the school, and the qualifying site must establish 12 to 15-member school leadership team whose members include at least 30% parents and at least 30% teachers at the site, as well as the building principal and representatives from partnering agencies. The school leadership team must develop a program goal that assesses the needs and oversees the implementation. So while the 2015 legislature initially appropriated $250,000 per fiscal year, we are asking for an increase in that and appropriating $90 million in fiscal year 24 and the same in fiscal year 25 for grants to full-service community schools in order to not only support the current schools that are doing such an incredible job, but also to expand the opportunity within the different school districts. And so with that, we do have a couple of testifiers.
All right, thank you so much. Dina Haran? who I believe is remote.
Good morning. I'm coming to you from Deer River, about 200 miles north.
And if
Good
you could,
morning.
I'm so sorry, I meant to say this earlier. If you could state your name for the record, that would be helpful. Thank you.
My name is Deanna Roan, and I'm the full-service community school coordinator at King Elementary School in Deer River. Good morning, Chairperson and committee members. Deer River Schools is one of very few rural schools in the United States and also in the state of Minnesota that has implemented the community school strategy. In looking at the community school strategy, the school is the hub of the community. In Deer River and other rural communities, it's true that the school is already the hub, and so adding services to the schools helps our students learn to their fullest potential. Many of the students in my school don't have access to reliable transportation, so they are unable to get to the dentist, the doctor, or other appointments. Building partnerships with community providers gives us the opportunity to bridge the gap so that students can access these services that are so greatly needed. Students learn better when they are healthy. The full-service model provides services so that students can be healthy and can learn to their fullest potential. A community school is both a place and a set of partnerships between the school and other community resources. Its integrated focus on academics, health, and social services, youth and community development, and community engagement leads to improved student learning, stronger families, and healthier communities. Each community school is unique and has unique assets and resources, specific needs, visions, and goals. So the full-service community school strategy is not a one-size-fits-all. It's built around the needs of the community. The coordinator is what holds this program together. The coordinator creates strengths and maintains the bridge between the school and the community. Community school coordinators facilitate and provide leadership for the collaborative process and the development of a continuum of services for children, families, and community members. Quickly, I would like to tell you a few anecdotal stories from Deer River that have happened just in the past couple of months. We began our journey on the full service strategies right before the pandemic. And so now as we are coming out of the pandemic, we have a lot of students in our school that were behind on the mandated vaccines to start school. They hadn't had vision appointments for a long time, dental services. And so in the past couple of months, we have been able to get our students caught up on vaccinations with a partnership with the clinic in our community. We have a partnership with an eye doctor, so we've been able to get glasses on. I would say that we're up to about 40 students that have needed glasses this year. And with a partnership that we have built with a dentist, we have been able to begin to bring some of our students to the dentist who don't have a primary provider. I would ask that you would please consider supporting Senate File 20. It is, the full service strategy is a model of local control, a model that there's return on your investment, and please consider supporting Senate File 20. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Our next testifier is Becky Stromstad. You may state your name for the record and begin when you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, Senator Kunesh, and committee members. My name is Becky Stromstad. I teach third grade at St. Paul Music Academy within the St. Paul Public Schools. My school is a full-service community site that is in partnership between SPPS and the Wilder Foundation. I have seen that the Achievement Plus full-service model is successful, and I wanted to share my perspective from the classroom. I have taught within the SPPS district for 19 years. During that time, I've worked in 2 sites that were full community service schools and 2 that were not. As I began my teaching career in the traditional setting, I was excited to provide students with an education that provided rigor and high standards. Though I quickly learned that students walking through my door had needs that had to be met before their learning could happen. Students and families arrived with food shortages, housing instability, and limited access to transportation. This impacted their academics. Many of my students had difficulty focusing and performing in school. If they were going to focus on academics, some of the barriers had to be addressed. So I, like many teachers do every day, felt it was my job to also track down winter clothing and food for families. I began working with our school social worker to help with transportation. We put families in touch with free medical and dental services. The work was exhausting. All of the time and energy I spent on these efforts put a strain on my teaching and classroom instruction. When I moved to SPMA and began working within the full-service community school model, it was a breath of fresh air. The coordinator was able to help students address potential barriers for learning. I didn't have to. Students were provided access to clothes and winter gear through the Family Center. Students' eyes were tested and their glasses were shipped directly to the school at no cost. When students experienced housing instability, our coordinator was able to get them the resources needed for safe and stable housing. Students' mental health was addressed and aided through an embedded therapist. Dental services were also provided on site. Our coordinator built community partnerships to help enhance the educational experience of students. They received access to sports camps and equipment. Students had opportunity to attend day camps and performances. I cannot stress just how valuable the full-service model has been to the learning and stability of my students. When students' needs are met, they feel connected to their community. They thrive not only academically, but in all areas of their life. And I'm able to be a teacher focused on instruction. Teaching is hard enough, and I have loved that I can be a content expert in math and reading and not have to worry about food access. Having taught in both settings, I only want to work within the full-service model. Thank you for the opportunity to share my classroom experiences. I ask that you support Senate File 20 to help expand full-service sites and give more educators, students, and families a chance to benefit from this model.
Thank you very much. Our last testifier is Nuhu Sims, who is joining us online. Please state your name for the record. I apologize if I pronounced it wrong, but you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Nuhu Sims. I am the Director of Equity from Brooklyn Center Community Schools. We are a full-service community school district. We stand on the 4 pillars of integrated student supports, expanded and enriched learning time and opportunities, active family and community engagement, and collaborative leadership and practices. As a full-service community school district, it is critical for all of us as district leaders and administrators to embody the ethic of a full-service community school by weaving everything that a community school offers into every single thing that we do. Whether it is getting toothbrushes to children, whether it's getting coats to children, whether they need extra food, bringing families into the classroom, how we make decisions in terms of how we write policies as a school district, any initiative that we put forth, all of it is enveloped in the full service community schools model, and all of our decisions are made based on those 4 pillars. I want to share with you some of our student demographics because we're one of the few full service community school districts in the state, and I want to just use these to impress upon the need for us to continue this funding. We're 94% students of color, 1% Indigenous, 15% Asian American, Asian immigrant, 44% African American, African immigrant, 26% Latinx students, 6% white, and 8% that identify as 2 or more races. 20% of our students receive special education, 44% are English learners, 87% qualify for free and reduced lunch. We have a 21% mobility rate. We have almost 50% open enrollment from other school districts, and 26% of our students have reported some instance of homelessness within the last school year, and 6% of our students are in foster care. So when you combine the psycho-emotional needs, the educational needs, and the experiences of our community in terms of how they just exist in the world, you can see how critical it is that we offer every single service that a family would need at the school, and not just things that are about their basic needs, but also employment as well. In terms of our academics, because we are a full-service community school district, our failure rate is down by 12%. That is on a 4-year trend, actually, from 2018 to 2019, 2019 to 2020, 2021 to 2022, and then this year, 2022 to 2023. Our failure rate continues to drop each year, and we are consistently making progress in science and in English language arts. 44% decrease from past years, and a 43% decrease in English language arts. In terms of school readiness, we find that 92% of our pre-K students meet or exceed school readiness standards. And in terms of suspensions, we've seen a 95% decrease over the past 4 years. And the majority of that is due to what we can provide on site. It has been mentioned that when students feel like they are cared for, when they feel like they have their basic needs met, when they feel like they do not have to worry, they can engage in learning. And when they can engage, they can start to reach all the potential that they have. But if they are distracted because they are cold, or because they are hungry, or because they're not getting what they need at home, then we can't even get to the point where they can access the learning that is vital to their futures. In terms of our college and career readiness, we have found that 80% of our students in grades 9 through 12 were registered for one or more college prep courses. 12% of our students are going off campus to take their classes. 72% of our students are in STEAM and STEM courses. 18% are taking career and technical education or work-based learning classes. So as you can see, because we are a full-service community school in a community that is at or below the poverty line, and in an extraordinarily racially and culturally diverse setting, we are able to provide students with the ability to access their futures. And if we were not this, and if we did not have this funding, we wouldn't be able to do that. We continue to thrive on this model. We continue to try to transform and push education on this model. And most importantly, it allows us to truly be responsive to the needs of our community and give them what they need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions? Senator Umu Verbatim.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Kunesh, for bringing forward the bill. And if I could, I'd love to ask Mr. Sims some questions about Brooklyn Center Community Schools.
Sir, Mr. Sims, are you still with us online?
I'm here.
All right, fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm looking at the document and seeing that Brooklyn Center Elementary is seeing a 95% decrease in suspensions, which is just like, wow. And this mentions a guiding document called the Freedom Framework. So wondering if you can share that information with us. But I also am just curious what that transition was like in Brooklyn Center Elementary Schools, in getting that document together, preparing staff to sort of implement those new practices. And if you could speak to, you know, maybe some of the growing pains and how that has changed as folks have seen, you know, this success, right? I would think that would help, you know, increase the morale amongst, you know, staff and students. So just want to hear more about what that transition was like, especially for the staff.
Yeah, it was a collaborative effort between the administrative staff at the elementary, district leadership, and the teaching staff and the support staff. Our community has experienced a lot of trauma, and that is before Dante Wright was murdered in our community, and it's been ongoing for a long time just because folks are at or below the poverty line and are experiencing just a whole host of other intersecting forms of oppression. So we knew that we had to do something to keep kids in the building and see them for everything that they are, and not just an incident that they may have done that was out of their control because of what they're experiencing outside of school. So we took an approach of having many restorative circles with staff, where we engaged in deep dialogue around their experiences in the building, what they've seen in the community, and what they wanted for themselves in education in the building, and what they wanted for young people. And we got to work through a lot of the trauma that the staff had experienced, and then we co-created a document that would allow us to sort of operate on a system of like, if then what, and we had levels of behavior that we would say this qualifies as someone needing to exit the classroom, to practice, to have a restorative conversation, to have a restorative to do some restorative practices, and then they would enter back into the classroom. And if there was something that would not allow them to re-enter the community and repair the harm, then we would find a space for them within our building, because our building holds, our elementary can hold up to 1,000 students. So we're almost the size of, at full capacity, we're almost the size of 3 elementaries in one. And so we've created intentional restoration spaces where we can work with the young person around what they did, why they did it. We would actively have families come to help us in that restoration process so that they could go back into their learning community and continue to get the education that they deserve. But the process of having staff work through the things that they had experienced in the past and getting everybody to be on the same page about how we would work with students who are exhibiting behaviors that they may not have full control over, and then making these common agreements of this is what it will take to repair the harm that happened in their learning community. And what we saw was that over a period of time, both the students and the staff members created more meaningful relationships, and the relationships with families got even deeper. And even if a student was showing behaviors that normally would warrant a suspension, we were able to almost fix it on site. And our first year of it was rocky, but by the second year, we were able to, people knew the psycho-emotional needs of the young folks that were in front of them. We were getting more information from parents, and we were getting more vulnerability from both students and adults that just allowed people to sort of stop and pause when harm occurred and see the true need that was coming out. And a lot of it was, a student may have family abandoned him, and he's sleeping on a park bench for nights, and no one knows, and his other family members are looking for them. Students are going home and they don't have any food to eat, or they're going home and they're taking care, 10-year-olds are taking care of their siblings, and they're coming to school not having slept all night. They're experiencing different forms of abuse, and no one has called Child Protective Services, and all of that comes to us. And when we were able to really isolate what was happening outside of the building, then we could get them what they needed inside of the building. And because we were a full service community school, when it came to things like mental health counseling, having a social emotional learning specialist, having needing dental care because they've had a toothache for weeks and couldn't do anything about it. We have healthcare on site. whether it was they needing glasses, needing things that you would think were everyday needs. Students were coming in and not having those. And once we had the staff fully engaged in this freedom framework of how we are going to allow these young people who are experiencing trauma to get them their basic needs and be able to work through what is impacting them on multiple levels, then we were able to get them back into the classroom so that they could learn. It was a collective community effort, but because we got the staff involved and all of district leadership involved, both at our elementary and our high school, it's been able to work. And frankly, when young people come through our doors and they are experiencing things that honestly just make you want to break down and cry, it's really invigorating to know that we have support staff and teachers and administrators that are able to utilize all the resources we have as a full-service community school to help them get to a space where they can access learning. The pandemic had impacted everybody in a whole host of ways, and it severely impacted communities that were already struggling economically. And our community in Brooklyn Center is one of those communities. So we have students that are exhibiting behaviors just because they're scared to say that they don't know how to read or they don't know how to write. And we actively engage in restorative practices to help them get to a space where those things are okay. And then anything that's happening outside of the schools, we try to, as actively as we can, bring in family and community to help these young babies find a sense of themselves and joy in education. And that's where we're at right now, where we're able to utilize our resources to help young people have a joy and love of learning, as opposed to worrying about what's happening, what they cannot control. And we can control a lot in our space. And so that's sort of been our journey, and we're still on it. And we continuously get better every year. And because of our mission, vision, and core values, we attract people that want to come and live out a mission as opposed to working a job. And that helps us continue to do what we are doing, especially when it comes to keeping people in the school and not kicking them out.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. Senator Verbatim.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for that explanation, Mr. Sims. And just thank you for your work for our kiddos. I can really feel the love that you have for our children. And it's really warms my heart to hear that, because I think there's a lot of rhetoric right now out there that just is demonizing our kids. And it's just so clear how much you love and care about the kids in Brooklyn Center and the great work that your staff is doing. I just wanted to make a few more comments. It really feels like Brooklyn Center was, because of this model of having full service community schools, was a little better equipped for these two crises, right, of the COVID-19 pandemic and murder of Dante Wright, which I'm sure just really rocked your community. Seeing that you had more than 1,000 mental health appointments that happened at that time, just amazing. This is also making me think about the importance of like that joint committee meeting that we had with HHS, and how when we invest in our kids and set up these models in our schools, the investment really does pay off in the long run, right? At the beginning of this year, we heard our governor talk about, these what seemed like lofty goals of ending child poverty, right? But he talked about what we've been able to do with our veterans and how we're really close to eliminating veteran homelessness in Minnesota, because we have these sort of full service models, and our schools are going to be so important to that effort for us to eliminate child poverty. So this is just great. So amazing to hear what Brooklyn Center is doing, and thank you for bringing forward the bill, Senator Kunesh.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Senator Kroon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My comments are not rhetoric, and they're not specific to Brooklyn Center. You may be doing wonderful work there. It sounds like you're very passionate about the work you're doing there. And this isn't a comment about your school district at all, but I am skeptical about the 95% reduction in suspensions, having this program be the proximate cause of that. And the reason I say that, the reason for my skepticism, is that I've seen the pull to reduce suspensions as an end in of itself. And so I've experienced that, districts making their stated goals to reduce suspensions, and then they get the results that they want. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's an improvement in behavior in the schools. And so I am skeptical of that statistic, but again, I don't know what you all are doing at Brooklyn Center, and this isn't a comment specifically about your district. About this program more broadly, I realize that these are real world issues that do affect education. But at their core, they're community problems, they're societal problems, issues. And I'm just wondering if the E12 committee in the budget is the proper place for it, or would it be better off in human services, more of a broader approach to these issues, which leads me into my second concern about this. This isn't a statewide program, and we've heard from Deer River, St. Paul, and Brooklyn Center, but these needs exist everywhere. And again, this is a broader societal problem affecting education, but not specific to education. And then my final concern about this is just simply priorities. We're talking about increasing the appropriation on this. From my understanding, we've had 2 appropriations in the history, one $500,000 and then one for $1 million, and now we're talking about $90 million a year, $180 million appropriation. That's a huge increase. And at some point, I don't know what the targets are going to be, but at some point, priorities are going to have to enter into the discussion. And I think about $180 million appropriation could do to the cross subsidy or to the formula, and which would benefit every school district in this state. And so these are tough issues, tough problems. I'm just not sure that an appropriation from our budget here is the best way to go about solving them. Thank you.
Senator Kunesh?
Sure. I hear you. I understand. That's a big chunk of change. In my experience as an educator and knowing the work that Brooklyn Center has been doing for years, I'm very, very impressed and support the work that they do. This is a program that would be available across the state. We have full learning schools in Rochester, in Reamer, in Duluth, in Little Falls, throughout the Twin Cities as well. City View, just very near to here, is another full-time or full community school. And so I have seen these programs in action, and that's what really spurs me to do this. Certainly that is a lot of money that we would like to put towards it, but we do have to start investing in programs. We have to start investing in our children. And we can say it's a community or a societal issue, but as stewards of our community, we have to look at all the different aspects. And as the Education Finance Committee, I feel it is our moral responsibility to look at the different areas, the different communities, and look at their really specific, unique needs, and do our best to address those needs. When we have services on site, it helps the entire community. It means that parents don't have to leave their home or their jobs to get to their child, to take them to an appointment. It means that maybe that child isn't going to miss a whole day of school. It means that there are going to be people that are looking out for them. And in some ways, I don't like to use the word investment, saying that we're investing in our kids, because we should be wrapping our arms around those children and helping them and supporting them in the best way. And I've seen it work. I have seen it work. When we have those resources available to a student that, or a family or a community that is either hurting or lacking some basic resource, we see those vast investments, and we need to start investing at some point in these communities. I think this is a great way to do it. Can we do the whole amount? I don't know, because I don't have those targets yet either. But we can aspire. We can talk about it. We can aspire. We can look at what we can do in the here and now and start to make that difference.
Senator Kruin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate those comments, Senator Kunesh. And I'm not opposed to having the discussion and to talking about it. I guess my point is that I think it maybe should be a broader discussion than just in this committee, and maybe it is. I guess that's kind of where my thoughts were going, because it seems that the issues we're talking about are broader. They impact us here in this committee in education, but they're broader than that as well. So again, and it's a good discussion. I'm just wanted to state kind of my reservation and some of my concerns about some aspects of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Senator Cwodzinski was next, and then Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Kunesh. I think the first sentence in this handout from Education Minnesota speaks volumes. Full-service community schools are the future, and I couldn't agree anymore with that statement. Mr. Sims said something that really resonated with me. And, you know, I don't know what the solution is, but we've got a problem when during his testimony he said 1/4 of his students have experienced or thought, or I don't even know what word he used, but experienced homelessness since the start of the school year. That's 1 out of 4 of our students. That's not okay. And I don't even know the answer, but I hope in our education committees we can delve deep into this issue, because kids aren't going to come to school ready to learn when they're not healthy bellies and healthy skin and healthy, and I don't even know. All I know is that statistic probably is the most horrific statistic I've heard this session so far, that 1 out of 4 students in one of our schools, probably many of our schools, but in one of our major schools in the state of Minnesota, the students are experiencing homelessness at that level is just unacceptable to all of us, I hope. And so, anyways, thank you for, and if I could give research a challenge, I really, and I think everybody in this body, in this committee would benefit. I'd love to know more about not just Brooklyn Center, but where was the genesis of the community school? How did that concept begin? What state did that, or are we the first state to do it? And if there's a little reading out there somewhere in the World Wide Web or in the cloud about what other states have done with community school concept, I think I'd greatly benefit from reading more about that. So thank you, Ms. Joseph, for being on top of that.
Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And actually, Senator Cwodzinski's comments lead into a little bit of what I was going to say, because this idea of the community school isn't exactly a new concept. The school that I graduated from, Chisholm High School, back in the early 1900s, if you've ever seen the movie Field of Dreams, Doc Graham, Moonlight Graham, he was the physician for the Chisholm School District. They had dentists that came in, and so this is something that's, the Bible talks about how nothing new, there's nothing new under the sun, right? And so, these things sort of get repackaged to meet certain needs. And And so this is something that's gone on, you know, district to district, and so maybe Chisholm High School can take credit for being the first community school. I don't know, but I share some of Senator Cruin's concerns. I think there's certainly a need for this, you know, particularly, so when you look at research in regards to education, the number one indicator of student success, setting aside classroom size or, you know, anything else, the number one is attendance. And so something like this that could drive up attendance to actually get kids in school, we're going to see success. So remember that when people are like, oh, you know, the research shows that this is, you know, this will be, getting kids to school is the number one indicator of success. However, as I've said a number of times in this committee, I like the idea of flexibility. And so this is a $90 million grant program. My preference would be add that to the formula, add it to the cross subsidy, and make sure schools know, hey, you know, this is a good program, and maybe use parts of it. Not every school, you know, some schools might not need the additional transportation to get kids to doctor's appointments, or, you know, they might not need as many counseling services or whatever is offered. But my preference would be to say, let's put this money on the formula, or let's get it to the schools, but then give them the flexibility, rather than saying, well, you've got to fill out the grant and then you have to use it this specific way, and if you don't use it this specific way, you lose the funds. You know, superintendents and principals and teachers that I'm talking to are saying we need flexibility, and again, I think a lot of the things in here, or probably all of them actually, are worthy and noble, and they're good things to help students succeed, but I'm just very hesitant to say we should spend this amount of money specifically for this when schools are already doing a lot of good things, and maybe they'll take parts of it and they don't need to do parts of it. So that's sort of my position.
And if I could just respond real quick.
Sure.
And Senator Farnsworth, it would be my intention that schools could use these dollars to create that community hub school and use those dollars in the way that best address their specific unique communities and giving them the flexibility. So maybe they don't need that transportation, so they won't need to apply for as much. But it would certainly help relieve a lot of the other burdens that are on our general funds. And if it's one thing that I want to be able to do is allow schools to use the resources that we provide as our state government in the best way to meet their unique students, and this is definitely one of those ways.
Senator Westlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm a proud co-author of this bill. I believe very much in community schools. The bill itself identifies priority of how the funds would be distributed, and it goes to the current grant recipients. It also goes to schools that are identified as low performing under the federal Every Student Succeeds Act, and then any other applicants. So from my perspective, what this is doing is targeting the funds first and foremost to schools who are established and have shown that they are performing as a community school or community district. And then it is targeting schools that are underperforming and who need perhaps additional assistance. So, and I guess the other thing that I just wanted to address was, I'm pretty sure that I heard Mr. Sims describe the strategies that they're using in Brooklyn Center School District to mitigate the need for suspensions. And what I heard was a focus on restorative practices, and that they have facilities that permit the student to remain in the school, in the building, while perhaps removing them from the classroom, but where they are still getting intervention and assistance in modifying their behavior. Restorative practices overall are really great at helping people generally. I mean, you see restorative practices in criminal law and other areas. It is an opportunity for the person who is engaging in conduct that's just not acceptable, and this is part of our social contract, whether it be at school or in our larger community. It helps them understand the impact of their behavior, to modify that behavior, and then also to engage in an amend-making process. So I'm a big fan. I support this bill. I hope we can get as much as we can for it, and I thank you so much, Senator Kunesh, for carrying this bill.
Senator Lucero?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Chair Kunesh, for this bill and this conversation. And I sincerely appreciate the efforts in the conversation, not only of yourself, but of the testifiers and the conversation we've had this morning. Just some thoughts as we continue this conversation going forward, not just this year, but in the coming years. And that is, I recall the past couple years, back when I was in the other body on the Public Safety Committee, we had many conversations in regards to law enforcement. And it was, when I see the words full service community schools, what comes to mind is the recollection of those conversations on the Public Safety Committee. And it was actually the DFL members asking the question, are we asking too much of law enforcement? Are there so many things in society, different types of calls being responded to, that it's beyond the capabilities of a specialized skill set, and therefore let's explore other options. So that's one thing that's on my mind. And the other thing that's on my mind is just putting on my business hat. It's a well-known concept within the business private sector, regardless of industry, that an organization maintains their core mission, whatever product or service that they're in the business of. And if they try to acquire other companies or develop other products and services that stray from that core mission, they dilute themselves and they become, instead of being really good at one or two things, their core mission, they become 60% good at an expanded array of efforts. And so again, I appreciate this, and it's a good conversation. Just thinking of that law enforcement, thinking of the private sector, I don't want to put ourselves in a position a decade from now, did we do too much? What is the core mission of schools, K through 12 education, of teachers? And obviously the core mission is to educate students, young people, and give them the empowerment and knowledge to succeed at whatever it is they want to do in life. And clearly these things are related to education. Empty stomachs, homelessness, not being able to see, eyeglasses, those are clearly related, but how best do we approach this conversation and not stray from the core mission and then lose focus on what we want to do with children? So I think one of the greatest solutions we can do is just keep in mind parents. Government is never going to be able to replace parents. If we're seeing symptoms in society, and I appreciate, Madam Chair, the indulgence here. If we see these symptoms in society, homelessness, hungry students, crime, youth violence, what is it coming back to? What can we do? Is it just starting more government programs and throwing more money at it? Or is there how do we get to that? What's the root cause? Actually, a statement I've been using a lot in many committees this year. And I think a lot of it comes down to the family. What can we do to empower parents and family? Yep. Not necessarily government and bureaucrats with taxpayer dollars and programs. And so anyway, just throwing that out there as we continue these conversations. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sorry, Senator Westlin.
Just one final comment. And I appreciate, Madam Chair, I appreciate Senator Lucero's remarks. And I think that what our community schools do is our schools are the center literally of most communities. And in particular, when you look at Brooklyn Center, one of the other statistics that stuck out to me is that, almost 88% of kids are on free and reduced lunch. And what this model is able to do is their central core mission is teaching, it is educating our kids and understanding that we have families who are experiencing challenges and trauma, poverty, other things that make it hard for the parents to have the tools and the skills that they need to support their kids. And what the model does is it's not just doing things for people, but it is bringing parents in. It is providing them the support and the resources that they just may not have access to or know how to access, so that they are brought into the process of educating their kids. And so, again, just to reiterate this, these are programs that provide wraparound services to our kids, and to help families who are under stress or in need to be supported in the central facility, the central place of that and the heart of that community. So thank you.
Senator Umer Verbaeten.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Lucero and Senator Westlin. I think a word that Mr. Sims used that stood out to me was co-create, and whether that's with our parents, staff, students, the administration, how they developed that model together. I think that's really part of the magic of the success, is that everyone was at the table to figure out what are our needs, how can we come together and do this, right? And all those other experts that are there providing those services in our schools. But co-create, I think, is huge, and I love that he said that.
Senator Kunesh, any final thoughts?
Well, I do want to thank everybody for this conversation. I mean, this is what we should be doing. This is where we should be having these conversations, because everybody brings their viewpoints, their perspectives to the table. And at the end of this session, we have to put together the best kind of financial plan for our schools. And while I might be responsible as the chair at the end of the day, I really do want to hear your thoughts and your ideas on this, because you all come to it in a different way. I am very fortunate to come from a very large family of 13 children, and every single one of us does something different. Every one of us has a different profession. We have nurses, we have fire captains, we have psychologists, we have caretakers, we have lawyers, we have nurses. I don't know if I said that, but every single one of us brings something different. And when one of us is in need, we all come together to help with what we know and the resources that we understand to help them. When my mother was ill, I had a sister who was a lawyer that could help take care of the law issues. I had a nurse that could take care of the medical issues. That left the rest of us to do the caregiving and the loving for my mom in her last years. And that's kind of how I look at this. Like, we are all spokes in that wheel with the child at the very center. And once we all have that stability for that student, we can make things work. We can make things go round and round. And so I do appreciate this conversation and the thought process that went into it, and I hope that we can continue this work. Thank you.
And with that, Senator Westlin renews her motion. Or, no, Senator Kunesh renews her motion to have this laid over to possible inclusion in the omnibus bill. Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.